Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. I have with me Rajesh Govindarajulu, and we are going to take a deep dive back at the history of Tamil Nadu, the different dynasties that ruled over Tamil Nadu. We are going to take a look at one of the less spoken about. It's quite popular in Tamil, but not outside of Tamil Nadu. We've been talking about Cholas a lot, but before them, there was an equally distinguished dynasty which set the rules, sort of like what the Gupta Empire did for the northern part of India, and this is the Pallavas. We're going to talk about Pallavas today, and I have with me a distinguished historian, Rajesh Govindarajulu, and his mind is like an encyclopedia. So I'm going to go and draw on that. Rajesh, Pallavas, when did they see? My understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we have had kingdoms in the south, but they weren't quite big. I mean, there's like small, one district king, that sort of stuff. Talk to us about how things were. You can go back up to maybe 1 AD or 1 CE and then move forward, because the Pallavas were very prominent in the 5th, 6th, 7th centuries or so, I think.
Yes,
I could be wrong about that. Over to you.
See, we'll have to understand something. The case of empire building was more with the northern rulers, particularly people like the Nanda rulers, and then thanks to Chanakya once again, the Mauryan Empire, which was all over the country, and they had a powerful army.
But they didn't come all the way down deep south. They stopped around what, Tamil Nadu, or probably even a little bit north
little north of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
But they were big enough to come anywhere at will.
Right.
They must have had their own reasons for not traveling that far. But when we look at that point of time, when we look at the southern principalities, small kingdoms, probably 50-60 kilometers by 50-60 kilometers, small chieftains and rulers, nice people, but they were ruling over these tracts. However, they were very vulnerable for takeover. This is well exhibited in one of the movies, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏, where Narasimhavarma Pallava, enacted by the famous character artist S.V. Rangarao, he says, you see, the northern part of the country, there is a measure called kadam, like a kilometer. 100 kadam, 100 kada duram or distance, there is only one kingdom. But unfortunately, in the south, and particularly the Tamil-speaking part of the country, 5-10 kadam, just 5 or 10 units of distance, the kingdom and the king change. And that makes them very vulnerable to invasion and too much of concentration of power in a few hands. That could also lead to tyranny and otherwise not very healthy for the country. And therefore, Narasimhavarma Pallava says that the kingdom should be strong, big, should not be vulnerable, in order to protect its people from external invasions or something bad which may attack them. And that is what was the condition of Tamil Nadu. During the Sangam era, where there are so many glorious stories which are true, which talks about the bards, the poets, like Avayar, people like Thiruvalluvar, who gave us the Tirukkural. Then you have, so many rulers who ruled over the Dharmapuri, Adiyaman. Then you can go to Valvillori. So many characters, but all those kingdoms, though the rulers were very brave, very illustrious, the territories were very small. The Pallava rulers perhaps began their tenure during the time of the Satavahanas itself, and probably may have interacted with the Gupta rulers when the Satavahanas probably had a conflict with them. So the most prominent Pallava ruler to begin with is Simha Vishnu Avani Simha, the father of Mahendravarma Pallava. He ruled in between 575 and 600. Some people say Mahendravarma Pallava became the ruler at 590 itself. So 575 to 600 is Simha Vishnu, 600 to 630 is Mahendravarma, 630 to 668 is Narasimhavarma, the first, who was known as 𝗤𝗚𝗡𝗙𝗏. So you look at the rule of the Pallavas, the glorious part of the Pallava Kingdom was between 600 to 670, I must say, where it had reached its zenith. Mahendravarma Pallava apparently was a lover of art, music, dance, drama, sculptures, everything else. He wanted, the country to be prosperous, culturally advanced, wanted everybody to be happy. There was a verse which said, Pushpeshu Jaji, Purusheshu Vishnu, Narishu Ramba, Nagareshu Kanchi. That amongst the men it is Lord Vishnu, amongst the flowers the Jaji, Nari amongst the women Ramba, and amongst cities Kanchi. It's a moksha sthalam. Kanchipuram had many units. Jina Kanchi, Bauddha Kanchi, Shaiva Kanchi, Vishnu Kanchi. Even today, if you go to Kanchipuram, noticed.
Yes.
And the Bhakti movement was pretty active during the Pallava period. You could possibly, the emperors met Tirunavukkarasar or Appar, Tirunjana Sambandar. Then they met Paranjoti, the commander-in-chief of Narasimhavarma, who became Sirutondar. Then Nindrasir Nedumaran, Kulachire, Mangayarkarasi. All the 6 of them, you can get to see them in about 30 to 40 years or 50 years of Pallava history. Out of the 63 Nayanmars, so many of them were present during the 7th century. So it was a historical period. There's another story of one more Nayanar, Pusalar, during which time the Pallava emperor had plans for a large temple and the Kumbhabhishekam. Work was going on. At that point of time, he gets a dream in which Lord Shiva says that he is in a particular place and will not be able to make it that day. So immediately the emperor gets up, travels to that particular village, wants to find out if any other temple is under construction. The members of his retinue find out that there's this devoted but crazy guy who has always been daydreaming about the construction of a temple. And they point out to him. The emperor meets that guy. That guy had just completed the consecration of a temple in his mind. He had constructed the temple bit by bit, brick by brick, and then brought the structure in his mind and done the consecration on that day. So the emperor understands that a temple is constructed in that location, consecration is done, and then he builds the temple that he wants to build and do the ceremonies. That was the importance. A powerful man the emperor was, but the humility that he carried was simply amazing. I think we need to learn a lot from that. And when we look at Mahendravarma Pallava, he was known as Chitrakara Puli, tiger amongst painters, because he could do a lot of things very well with regard to making pictures. He patronized sculptors. It was during the Pallava period that the temple construction activity started flowering. From the brick and wooden temples, we graduated to the monolithical structures and then solid granite blocks for the construction of temples. We owe it completely to the Pallavas. The Shore Temple and the 5 Rathas in Kanchi, in Mahabalipuram, probably are illustrations for this. And some people kind of say, where did this king live? In Kanchipuram. The king is supposed to be the protector. The protector is meant to represent Lord Vishnu, who is the sustainer and protector amongst the Trimurtis. Generation is Brahma, operation is Vishnu, and destruction, they say, is Lord Shiva. Trimurtis, G-O-D, God. You can explain it in this way too. So this Vishnu, where did he stay? Where did this ruler stay? The ruler stayed near a popular Vishnu temple. He probably lived very near to the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗏 temple.
And this is a temple that talks about which avatara?
Vamana.
Vamana avatara. What 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘 means the man who measured, the god who measured the world. So we all know Vamana avatar. Sir, go ahead.
So this 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗏 temple must have been the place which was in the neighborhood of the palace of the Pallava rulers. And we also get to see in the 7th century the invasion of Pulikeshin II. Pulikeshin was the emperor of a very large territory which existed between the Narmada and the Tungabhadra rivers.
Chalukyas.
The Chalukyas, the western Chalukyas. And his brother Vishnuvardhana was the ruler of Rajamahendrapuram or Vengi. So in one part of India was completely within the control and grasp of him and his family. On the northern side existed the great Harsha. Harsha in fact wanted to move south. He came with a large army. His armies came down. Harsha, being the emperor, was not engaging himself directly. And Pulikeshin fought many a battle. And Harsha was not able to move forward. It was like kind of an irresistible force meeting an immovable object. There was kind of a military standstill. Then it so happened that Harshavardhana himself wanted to attack Pulikeshin. He came with a large army. And Pulikeshin understood that it was like banging his head against the mighty Vindhyas. So there was peace. And Harsha moved back, and Pulikeshin, after which, decided that he could go south. And he came towards Kanchipuram. And there is a indecisive battle between him and Mahendravarma Pallava, where Mahendra is weakened. Pulikeshin goes back with bounties. And after several years, his son, Narasimhavarma Pallava, takes a very large army, goes until Vatapi, encircles the fort, defeats Pulikeshin, kills him in battle in 642 AD. And for many years, the Chalukya territory was under the Pallavas. It took some time for the Chalukyas to recover. He brought away the Vatapi Ganapati, they say, which was in front of the fort, which is now in one of the Delta region villages. His commander-in-chief was Paranjoti, the famous Nayanar Sirutondar. After the war, his commander became a saint, a saintly person, and he is one of the 63 Nayanmars who come in the Bhakti movement history. So this Narasimhavarma Pallava was an amazing ruler. He could not be defeated, for he had defeated Pulikeshin, who was able to match Harshavardhana. So that is the level of excellence that a ruler from the Tamil-speaking parts of the country had exhibited in the 7th century. However, we must remember, we have the Sengol here, which carries the famous, the bull, the Rishabham.
Yeah.
This was the symbol of the Pallavas then, until, Narasimhavarma Pallava. Then comes Narasimha. He introduces a new symbol, which is the lion, which is like today's Make in India. He said, let that also be and let me also add. And in many ways, when we got freedom, strange that it might appear, the scepter which was given to the then Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, from Tamil Nadu, this scepter was made in Tamil Nadu at Ummadi Bangaru Chetty, they say. And the family members were in Delhi. And it carried the symbol of the Pallavas. And the symbol of the Pallavas is now present in the new Parliament House. What a great thing, what an interesting thing.
Pallavas were much more than just a kingdom that tried to become, unite all these small chieftains into one entity. They gave us the script, which is called Pallava Brahmi, which forms the basis of some of the Southeast Asian language scripts. And they also were one of the first ones, seafarers. They went to Sree Vijaya and then Champa and all these places. you can't say that they were the first ones, because it is believed that Ashoka had sent Buddhist monks to go preach Buddhism all the way in Southeast Asia. So the thing is, they kept up this. But there's another important thing. One prince who taught the world karate.
He is one of the Pallava princes.
Yes, so maybe we can talk about that.
Bodhidharma. He was from the Pallava family. See, we must understand that there were some princes and princesses who migrated and went away, and there were some people who came here. And Bodhidharma is directly related to martial arts. So this was a Pallava person, and his work is seminal. You look at all the martial arts in the world, in a certain way, it was a weaponless manner in which people could defend themselves, or in the absence of weapons. And they traveled along with the Buddhist monks, the Indian philosophers, and people of the mercantile community which went abroad. They had these martial arts people along with them. One side you had the spiritual and religious people are going in for, sharing their philosophy. On the other side, you had the traders who went along in those ships, which in a certain way needed to be financed, for which the merchants went along. And the merchants had to be protected. There you had the martial arts people. You look at places like Cambodia, you look at places like Vietnam, Burma, you look at places like Thailand, you will still find old coins belonging to the Pallava, Chola rulers. Whenever you excavate, you find even gold and silver coins, old structures, temples which you can see all over the ASEAN region, which came up thanks to the influence of the Pallavas.
And viewers, I hope you like this video, because Pallavas are not mentioned as much as perhaps the Cholas. We saw the 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗥𝗏 episode that was celebrated so well last couple of weeks ago by the Prime Minister. So our next few episodes are going to be about other things and other kings and dynasties that ruled Tamil Nadu. I hope you like this thing. And also, if you'd like to place your order for a Sengol with an enclosure or just a Sengol, you can order those from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. In fact, I have a QR code here. If you can just scan this, it will directly take you to the site. You can place your order from there. Thank you so much, Rajesh.
It was really wonderful to relive the Pallavas, especially after having read the books 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Sabadam, which talks about a dancer, a fictional character, like how you are using fictional characters on real life situations. 𝗏𝗙𝗘 has also done that in the past. And the Pallava story, their cultural expertise with the dance, drama, sculpting. You go to different parts of Tamil Nadu, you can find pieces of Pallava work. Of course, it would have overlapped with the Pandya, it would have got overlapped with the Cholas, and later the Vijayanagar and the Nayak rulers. The same temple will have the work of the Pallavas, then the Pandyas, Cholas, Pandyas, Vijayanagar rulers, Nayak rulers, and the Polygars.
Yes.
Like a large club sandwich. So temple construction, if we say in Tamil Nadu, if Tamil Nadu can be called as a temple state of the world, I think we should promote this through your program, sir. That it began during the Pallava period in 575 AD.
Very true, very true. And viewers, again, share this video and also subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so. We'll be back with more such interesting, absorbing stories in conversation with Rajesh ji. Namaskar. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Thank you.